CEO Larry Ellison has emerged this week as a potential bidder for TikTok's U.S. operations, and he is gaining the support of President Trump. Joining us now with details is Yahoo Finance's tech editor, Dan Howley. Dan, I don't know, I didn't see this one coming. How would this work for Oracle? Does it make sense for them to want to buy up TikTok's U.S. operations?
Yeah, it's a strange tie-up. Basically, what would happen here is Oracle would be kind of working together with other funds such as Sequoia Capital to basically grab the U.S., Canadian, New Zealand, and Australian portions of TikTok, not the entire business, obviously, and they would then be able to operate it in those countries as they see fit. This is something that obviously President Trump has been pushing for. There have been different politicians on both sides of the political spectrum basically talking about how they feel that TikTok is a potential national security threat. Microsoft was the previous main bidder, or the bidder that we all expected would go for it and perhaps come out on top. But this really does throw a wrench into that. Oracle, though, not a part of any real social media business at all. It's more of a back-end enterprise business. So for it to get into this kind of business would be pretty interesting. It's also worth noting that Oracle CEO Safra Catz has the ear of the president and has lobbied personally to him before for Oracle business, specifically the JEDI contract for the Department of Defense, basically saying that Amazon wasn't bidding fairly for it. Obviously, we all know that it ended up going to Microsoft, but Oracle wanted it to be broken up into multiple companies to provide that AI infrastructure for the DoD. They didn't end up winning that, but obviously it shows that Oracle does have someone within the company who's able to speak directly with Trump and kind of appeal to him for their needs.
Dan, isn't Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg LOLing at the prospects of this deal happening? With the thinking being, all right, Oracle clearly has a software background, buys TikTok, and sends it right down the tank because they don't know what they're doing. Yeah,
that's really kind of the fear, I think, for TikTok and anybody who probably is a fan of the app. Basically, again, that doesn't have a background in social media. Microsoft, not a strong background in social media, but they do have LinkedIn, and they have made LinkedIn profitable for them. So, they do have a little bit more of a leg up there when it comes to the social aspect of it. You would have to imagine that Oracle would hopefully leave it alone and just basically be the name that oversees it so that it has some kind of backing in the U.S.
What is President Trump saying here? And do you get the feeling that he's leaning towards Oracle more than he would Microsoft? Or at the end of the day, does he just want a U.S. company to buy up these operations?
Yeah, it seems more like that he just wants a U.S. company. I mean, again, Safra Catz has lobbied personally for Oracle and come out on top to a degree. And, Oracle was criticized for that by the DoD. For that lobbying effort. And I think when you look at something like this TikTok kind of debacle, I guess we could call it, it really comes down to Trump seeming to want the Treasury to get a huge chunk of change out of the deal. I don't think he cares which company gets it, as long as he can say that he put money from the sale into the U.S. coffers and then let it be a U.S. company at that point.
Dan, there's no secret. Larry Ellison for decades has wanted to really beat up on Microsoft, but he hasn't gotten the job done. Microsoft's stock is on fire. It's been a better investment story. When you think Oracle, you think boring. Do you think part of this deal potentially, or him showing interest in this deal, is just so Microsoft overpays?
It could be. Obviously, this would raise the price if there's going to be a bidding war between these two companies. You would think, obviously, that Microsoft would end up coming out on top, depending on how much it thinks it's willing to give up as far as the TikTok brand goes. But, this, again, isn't, nearly the size of something like a Facebook. So it's not going to be, the hundreds of billions or anything close to that. But it would be an expensive ticket, I think, to drop some cash on. And as far as the potential growth story, we already have competitors like Facebook copying the exact capabilities of TikTok. So it's not as though it's a single stationary target. This is definitely a moving target that companies are going to have to continue to adapt to. And, you don't really know that Oracle is able to do that in a space that moves as fast as social media.
Dan, are there any indications from what you can see based on your reporting that TikTok would be a wounded asset, either going to Microsoft or Oracle? Are they losing users amidst all this turmoil?
It doesn't seem so. It seems as though, when the threat that it was going to shut down came out, some of the creators had moved over to Instagram just so they had something as a backup. But it doesn't seem like it's losing users at this point. It still continues to be incredibly popular. Instagram's Reels, that's the kind of, copycat portion of Instagram that Facebook put together to ape TikTok. If you look at that, it basically has TikTok watermarks in it because people are still continuing to post to TikTok first and then uploading it to Reels just to expand their audience. So I don't think we're seeing TikTok harmed in this. I think really it's young kids that use it and they don't care who owns it.
I think you make a good point there. Dan Howley, thanks a lot.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.